Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today. Palm scans. We're going to talk about that. And by the way, this whole USD Tether USDC thing, there's a much larger narrative and you're going to need to know it. Former NSA US deputy speaks about CBDCs, by the way. We got Jack McDonald from PolySign, a new Ripple ad, and you need to know about that and what it really is pointed to. TapJets filed their brief and what it means. And by the way, the latest updates that we're waiting on, they are on top of us, ladies and gentlemen. And how about settlement? Are we in a window? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for our exclusive content. $958 billion market cap for crypto at the time of making this video. It's 19,100 plus for Bitcoin, 1,200 plus for Ethereum. XRP is 48 cents at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Uphold has incredible staking opportunities. Yeah, my sponsor, but I'm also a customer and proud to be so. And not just them, you can also buy private equity on Link2, ladies and gentlemen, like Ripple, PolySign when it's available, and many other great products as well, including Ripple shares too. So make sure you check that out. Click the link for both of those underneath the video if you're interested. Let's look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Palm scan. That's what we're talking about here. Woo, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Look, I love technology, but there are certain things that just like when I see them, I'm like, I don't know if this is the world I want to be in, you know. But you know, what? We look, we don't get to choose how technology, whether technology is going to affect us or not, because it is, right? Unless you're going to go live in the woods with a ham radio and a can of tuna fish, right? I'm not doing that. So the way I'm approaching it is I'm approaching it like, look, I want to get as wealthy as possible so I can help change my family's life, get my time back with my family. The money is a byproduct to get that done. No question about it. But, you know, seeing certain texts, it's a little creepy. But let's talk about this, because talk about a little creepy. Tether says here a few days ago, and this is important because we're going to put it all together here for you. At least I'm going to give it a shot. And it's breaking. Tether is proud to announce that we have completely eliminated commercial paper from our reserves. This evidence is our commitment to back our tokens with the most secure liquid reserves in the market. Okay, the problem here is like, hey, everybody called the trophy shop. We decided to announce that we've completely eliminated commercial paper from our reserves. For those of you who don't know, commercial paper means unsecured promissory notes. That's what we're really talking about here. Unsecured promissory notes. To the tune of $30 billion. So what they're really announcing to somebody like me is, hey, we've been doing it wrong all along, you know, but now we're going to, you know, try to start doing it right. So they said they're doing UST right. We now know that was inaccurate, being polite. Now the Department of Justice has been sniffing around. All of a sudden, unsecured commercial paper is out. Someone explain to me how USD Tether is not publicly advertised counterfeit dollar again. I understand that, Tether, to their credit, full disclosure, is registered with FinCEN. But I am reminded of what Caitlin Long said about the Celsius crash, who was registered with a government agency as well. What happened? She said, just because you're registered with an agency doesn't mean you're regulated by one. How about that? This is another great thread acknowledging here from Thinking Crypto. Shout out to Tony. I say, yep, great thread. I also believe it's a when USDC becomes the official US digital dollar, because Tony suggests that as well. I've been saying it all along. I do believe that it will be a way for the U.S. to have centralized control of the on-off ramps for this new digital asset class. Make no mistake, this is a centralized movement disguised as decentralization. That's really what I intended to say there. But you only get so many characters. But that's what we're talking about. And you're going to see evidence of that again, I think, here with Jeremy Allaire talking on stage with Kevin O'Leary. Take a listen.
If you really thought 500 million people would use USDC, you can't do that on Ethereum.
Well, so I think you can do it on the different scaling models that exist. So layer 2s on Ethereum are showing huge promise. Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, these are all emerging. And then there's a lot of competition in the base these base protocol layers, layer 1s.
I'm glad to see it, but I'm thinking.
But we're at a place though where in the next 2 to 3 years, you probably remember very well when we had the first, we had dial-up internet, and then we had broadband, but it was kind of like, telephone company broadband that was like, it was like 4 times faster than dial-up DSL, or you had these kind of things.
It was shitty.
It wasn't very good. So we're right in that phase where we're kind of like in the DSL of blockchains, and we're getting really close to the fiber optic, and so that's key, right? If we can get there.
Will you pick a platform, because there's lots of competition? Solana, Polygon, you mentioned, Mistin, a new idea. I mean, there's.
Well, we
are you going to support them all?
We're adding more and more here at Converge. We've announced adding Cosmos, Polkadot, Arbitrum, Optimism, Near, and there are more on the way. And we've also announced a cross-chain protocol that makes it easy for developers who are building those wallet apps to not have their users to have to worry about it or care, so that you can send and receive no matter what you have.
Because in reality, if you get regulated and are one of the regulated stablecoins, this is where the use case starts to get interesting.
And not only the use case starts to get interesting, but the use case really defines decentralization. If USDC becomes the trusted, the reliable, the highly regulated stablecoin on all the most used platforms, all the liquidity going in and coming out of those protocols, exchanges and otherwise, will be going through USD coin, which means it will be centralized at that bottleneck. And then if the U.S. government comes in and anoints USD coin, the U.S. government controls the new digital revolution, the Internet of Value. He who controls the rails controls the world. That's the truth. Right here we see, in some respect, and this should load here in a second. I have about 6,000 tabs open, It will be, here it is right here. This points to the same exact statement. It's not an overstatement to say that the standard setting for central bank digital currency interoperability will become a key geopolitical front in a digitized global economy. Say all of that 5 times fast. Says the former U.S. Deputy NSA Dalit Singh. Isn't this speaking to what I'm talking about here? There is a digital innovation race, just like there was a race to space back in the day. This is the moment we're in. And what I see is decentralization's being used as a buzzword, the way .com was. And what I see is actually a more centralized world rolling out right before our eyes while everybody's cheering in the streets for decentralization. That really isn't happening. Jack McDonald, thrilled to welcome Matt Homer here to Standard Custody Board. It is exciting. Matt Homer has an incredible resume coming from many, many important different backgrounds revolved around cryptocurrency, digital asset policy, and others. Speaking of which, former NYDFS regulator. I tell you, this is the stuff I want to see as an investor, right? I'm certainly an investor in PolySign. You guys know that, and I'm excited. I'm a shareholder of Ripple too, but I personally am very excited when I see this kind of leadership brought to standard custody, obviously a subsidiary of PolySign. It is very exciting to see what's coming. Look, what we do know so far, at least from Jack McDonald in the early days of the website of PolySign, is that they're able to scale into the trillions. And Jack McDonald has told us on Thinking Crypto, honestly, that they're looking to tokenize, help the capital markets tokenize and get in this space. And I'm sure custody is going to be a huge part of that conversation. Speaking of which, BNY Mellon just announced recently, you remember the news, they're getting into digital asset custody, which is huge. This news is about BNY Mellon wins the Swift hackathon. BNY Mellon is also a Ripple partner. Just thought I'd remind everybody. EBA Clearing recently announced their immediate cross-border payments in conjunction with Swift Community using IXB, which uses real-time payments. EBA Clearing has been using known Ripple partners for some time. And there's all the evidence right here in this as well. But I'm going to keep it moving. Shout out to Cowboy Crypto for that. This is the new ad that's been going around for the last couple of days. And I wanted to get a second here just to talk about it, because now we're talking, doesn't look like the posture of a company that plans on losing to me. Now, does it? It really doesn't. But I will say this. It does look like they're targeting their audience, which is in a business financial sector of the World Trade Center of finance and institutional investment. That's what it seems like to me. You want to get the right eyes on something. There it is right there. That's extremely exciting to me, because they're showing me that they're also targeting the real money that will bring real price action, or at least what I believe will contribute to bring real price action to this asset that has real value. And speaking of real value, TapJet steps up and they put in their brief exactly that. Let's look at that very quickly here. TapJet files amicus brief in Ripple favor, says XRP use an alternative to fiat must be preserved, and here's why. In the private jet industry, you can call up and say, hey, I need a jet, and within an hour or so, they'll find out what airport you're closest to, and if they don't have one there, they'll bring one there, and they'll get you there. Now, you can pay for it now. But you know what? They can do it. And for a lot of people in the world, this is a very real part of their life, that they need access to this because of the business they're doing all over the country and the world. TapJets calls this Friday night problem because of the limitations in fiat currency and the banking system become most problematic when a traveler wishes to book a weekend travel, such as a Friday night. According to TapJets, XRP and other cryptocurrencies proffered solutions to the so-called Friday night problem. We all know this. XRP offered travelers the ability to pay for air travel instantly, solving the Friday night problem. You don't have to wait for the clearance and the this, and there's a hold, and then all of that's done. TapJets described XRP as time-proven and trusted payment method that many of its customers prefer. As shown in a 2018 poll, 43% of the respondents favored XRP over others. TapJets' Twitter poll received a total of 57,054 votes, by the way. While the poll was live with an overwhelming majority of 43.9 votes, 25,046 unique recorded votes in favor of XRP. The company said XRP is fast, safe, and secure, adding that it trusts cryptocurrency stability to be used as a form of payment for high dollar transactions, not just low dollar, because it's expensive to do that now. It's also worth it if you really need it. Now, this is a great thread here with Just Waza and Jeremy Hogan and a couple others here to contribute. And I want to read this to you because it kind of gives us where we are right now. The hourglass is running. As Stuart Alderati said, this is the beginning of the end of this case when summary judgments were filed. It's on the way now, right? The facts are not in dispute. There will not be a trial. Both parties agree on the facts, which means it will be up to the judge to decide this case. Just Waja asked here, can anyone tell me if the SEC appealed Judge Torres' decision to hand over the Hinman emails? I believe they had until 11 p.m. or midnight. Now, that was on October 14th. This is a few days ago. But this is relevant because of what's coming up, and they're going to explain it in this thread here. Ben out and missed it. Jeremy Hogan chimes in and says, another possibility is that the SEC handed over the emails. Nothing would be filed in that case, so we wouldn't know. Just saying. Oh, well, wouldn't that be something? Shout out to Jeremy for dropping that one. And then Marco Gomes says, but if they did not hand over the emails, can we now consider that the SEC skipped the motion for reconsideration? He asked the same of Bill Belisarius. I thought the SEC had until the 19th to file for reconsideration myself, which could be today, right, if it hasn't happened already. Apparently, I was the only one, but there's nothing new to give the judge, so it would make any sense to do so, no matter the time frame. Then Marco Gomes here says, so at this point, and according to filing law, SEC asked judge to reconsider, out. SEC asked judge to certify an appeal. The hourglass is running, right? SEC to go to Court of Appeals on a petition for writ of mandamus, and that is still running in the air. Do we know the deadlines for 2 and 3? Jeremy says here, the deadline for number 2 is 60 days from September 29th. The deadline for number 3 is not set in stone, but they put the appeal in jeopardy if they wait too long, parentheses, too long meaning more than 30 days or so. So there is a lot happening here that we need to pay very close attention to. And we should get more publicly for retail investors to see. Not that we'll see everything, but we should get some more information. And speaking of that, why does he ever say the settlement word? Jeremy Hogan, a settlement could happen at any time until the judge rules, but I think it's more likely before November 15th, if there's going to be one. And we are in that window now. And listen, it doesn't mean that, it's going to happen. Jeremy's not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but just his expertise is telling all of us, pay attention to this window, because this is a window for such a moment to take place, right? And wouldn't that be nice? And if it does, what will it be? Will we see a situation where we actually get a settlement and there's clarity going forward? Or will it be a settlement that defines what it was in the past and kind of leaves it open moving forward? It's going to be very interesting to see how this comes out, but that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.